Good morning, today 206. Okay, we've got a lot of people in today, so let's have a quick look what's going on. You can hear stones being poured out the front. So we've got sand and stone being delivered. We've got labourers in, we've got electricians in, we've got window fitters in, we've got carpenters in. We've not got a drywall man in at the moment, but we've got a team standing here waiting to come and join in. We've got masons in. And we've got this time of year trying to get stone and sand with the quarry shut. They hold you at gunpoint, as we said, but this man here sorted me out. Good guy, so I'll get you his name and number. If anybody needs stone and sand, bear in mind everyone else is asking for... Normally sand is about 1600. They're asking 2,000 to 2,500. So M&N Enterprises. Good guy, local, Christchurch. I think he's done it for about, I think sand is 1,500, stone is 1,400. So everyone else is asking between 2,000 and 2,500. And as you can see, look, he's even sweeping the back off. They never do that. And that then lands out of the road. Obviously in here we've got the rebar going in and the guys are doing that. Beckles is obviously pulling lines and start sorting the front out. Armory's in there helping out with the actual shuttering we're going to be putting in and blocking it up so we can get pouring at some stage today. We've got a beam up here that needs to be offloaded for the rush treatment, and we've got another one up here as well that needs to be done. So those two need to be done sooner rather than later. Then we can pour those at some stage later on this morning. The mixer's already going. I'm not too sure what for. Might be obviously to finish off the front, because that's going to be an overhang wall. So we've got the front garage where the garage door is going to be here, but then we've got an overhang going out that way, and we've got the house, and eventually there's going to be like a pergola stroke carport that's going to go in there. So that's what that is for. Let me go and see this man and settle him up quick. 1:45. That's how long it's taken me from the last time Alvin to me man and get back to here. So I think it was 9 o'clock I was filming last time. So at the moment, let's give you a quick update on what's going on here. Guys have gone to lunch, left the cement mixer going, which is always good. Okay, footings. Let's start with the footings. Okay, so we've got all the actual rebar in now. These boys are obviously doing all the starter bars. This is the overhang I told you about. So we've actually got an 8-9 foot overhang that's going to sit on front of the house. So it's this wide basically, and there'll be a roof that goes over to here. So that's going to be something we're going to have to do. It was actually meant to be a concrete structure at one point, but we exceeded the percentage of build plot, so we had to pull that off. So we're going to have to look at some other method. Obviously schedule 40 pipe is now here. Obviously it's a 45 and 45 over there now, because obviously we're out in the ground a lot higher. Not ideal when it comes down to main waste, but it's the only option we have at the moment. And really what we should be doing is digging all that up as well and redoing it right to there. But I think I'm going to leave it as it is for now, but I'm probably going to regret that. But as you can see, we're probably going to land up concreting it right through the footings as well. And we're going to carry that all the way through concrete to here, and then we're going to replace it obviously up into the toilet, which is actually the waste for this toilet here and the sink for the garage. But as you can see, the footings are doubled here, look, all the way through to here. Then it goes right over to there. So this is going to support quite a large concrete roof, which this is the formwork for. So it'll be 6 inches above that straight over, and it'll be level with the actual toilet roof there as well. Obviously we still got to sort this mess out here as well. So that's something we're going to have to do. We've got the excavator and the bobcat ordered on Monday. So that's going to be a Monday arrival and Monday works. Let's take you inside and show you what's happening in here. So lots of cabling. Electricians have wires everywhere. Spaghetti junction in here. The wood is now on the walls here for the door overhang, which is obviously good. They've got a change here at the moment, like we said about yesterday. So they didn't realise the link to the breakfast bar, so they've now got to be extended over here and spread. Pretty much in line here with centre here, look. So there'll be two lights here, and there'll be another 2 here and another 2 the other side. So that's going to happen there. Plasterboard's in, because next door we're plasterboarding. When I say plasterboarding, we're literally putting up the metal conduit for now. So as you can see, the metal is now a framework on the block walls. It's flying up, obviously. We need to go and get a nail gun in a minute to get those nailed on. So I'm going to go and do that in a second. And then obviously structurally we'll present it around the windows properly. That was done yesterday, but it's now been bracketed. So it's now in place, and here's also been adjusted as well. That's obviously got to be insulated and boarded at some stage when the plumber's ready. This is the only room so far that's actually been soundproofed and insulated, which, as you can hear as soon as you come up, changes. And again, the conduit for the wall's already been made and lent. In here, same thing again. Plasterboard does not need to be done, but obviously we need to do next door. But the concrete for the wall is actually in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a blanket insulation on that. So rather than the R11 fiberglass, we're going to be using this, of which I may have quite a bit for sale if anybody's interested. So this is a quilted insulation. It's only R7 as far as I'm aware, not R11. But it looks like this. There's all different layers of foam and foil. But when it's together, it ends up being about 6 or 7 millimeters. So I'm going to literally get that put onto the walls here and cut. And then we can board straight over that. That will help obviously the insulation value in there. This room is in the midst of being done, as you can see. Doors are going in, as you can see on this side. And one thing we've had to do, obviously the white mortar was done on the windows yesterday, but they forgot to leave the channels out the bottom, so we've had to cut those in today so that the actual thresholds can go in, which is good. Plumbers have been working in here today as well, finishing this off. So I now have that in for the handheld and the top pieces in as well. As far as I'm aware, the actual system is under pressure as we speak, so if there were any leaks, they'd be leaking already. One of you guys actually said make sure before you seal everything up it's all pressure tested, but apart from the drainage, everything is under pressure as far as I'm aware, so that means that we're okay to go ahead with that. We need to move all this sort of stuff out. I started sort of making some progress and moving some of the stuff off the floor, which I think we can do in the next day or two. What have we got out here? The masons are actually working out on the front, doing the white mortar on the sides, which I think they've already completed. Let me just double check. Spin it round. Yeah, so we now have this one here white mortared. We have this one here white mortared up to there. Because the boxing was there, obviously. And then what they've also been doing is they're working down here, so they've obviously put some Weldcrete down there, and they're actually going to be doing the, again, like the swimming pool edges in here, the oval edges, they're going to be putting that inside there today as well. Around here, it's been plastered, as you can see, so it's all nice and flush plaster, and that carries on all the way around here now, so they're plastering around here, all the way around, and I'm sure they're down the side at the moment as we speak. And I've asked them to continue that all the way around the building to the point where you come back over to the white mortar here, because the white mortar on this building was going down to the 2-foot beam in the middle. You can see what I mean. So on the front of the building, this is all white mortar as well, this piece. So I want this all grey on this side. So this is going to be grey, that's going to be grey, and eventually that will all be white, but it'll be white along that line there. Same here. They've still got to scratch coat that. I don't know why I haven't scratch coated that yet. They need to cut that back, need to cut that back level, and they need to scratch coat that like they've done here, and then they need to take the grey mortar all the way around, for the line here, all the way around underneath the windowsill. That's all grey mortar around there, and it is around the side as well. And then next week, they're going to be white mortaring this whole building. So that's going to look prettier on the eye, thank God. So we've got the footings that are nearly done, so we're going to spend some time getting those poured today stroke tomorrow. Once they're done, the masons are going to actually block up to a certain height all the way around. Then we're going to backfill with marl, we're going to get all the pipes put in, and then we're going to get that compacted, and then potentially, suicidally, we should be getting the excavator in here. So I think we should get the excavator in before we have any pipes put in there. Get the excavator here, get this dug out, get this dug out, get these 2 pipes replaced, get that backfilled, and put this bloody saga behind us. So anyway, anybody doing any form of waste, make sure you use Schedule 40 minimum. So Schedule 40 is quite a thick walled waste pipe. Don't even mention waste, in fact, just say I need Schedule 40 4-inch. As soon as you say waste, for some reason they dispose of the Schedule 80 and they send you the thin, plasticky, crappy stuff. So just say you need 4-inch Schedule 40. It's quite a thick walled pipe compared to the other and can sustain obviously a little bit more weight and pressure than the other. The other thing we're doing today, which I need to get around to, is these door tracks. We're going to cut those at some point this afternoon. So once I've come back from obviously getting the nail gun, I'm literally going to cut all of these myself. So I want the actual carpenters to do me a line, and then I'm going to get that cut. And as you can see, we've got the first bifold going in. They did do one, but unfortunately it had to be moved. They're doing the first one now, and they've got 4 of those to put in across. And then I'm going to cut these out and obviously get the channels put in, if they fit. Hopefully, by the time we actually pull the line on here, we'll find out whether this slot as well is actually slightly skew width as well. Hopefully this one isn't, and the track might go straight in. If it does, absolute brilliant. We've only got to do that side. And then what we've done is we put the 2x6s mounted to the ceiling, mounted to the wall, and eventually they'll also have a mouth bracket that sits underneath as well. And the door track itself will come along and we'll fix into each one of these. And then once the door's in, we've got the levels right, and then we'll put a 2x6 from here to here, here to here, and so on. And then we'll fix along as we go. And we might even put a ladder system in there. I think because the doors aren't weighted on the top, I think we don't need to go overkill. I think those 5 2x6s and a 2x6 going all the way along will be sufficient enough. And we'll do that on all ours. So you can see there's 5 obviously hanging from the ceiling there. We've still got to redo the brackets for the ceiling. One, they've not drilled out the holes big enough to put construction screws through. And 2, on the wood itself, they've been using drywall screws, which you just can't do here. So they need to come out, and we need to widen the holes, and we need to use the blue-headed construction screws. So that's that. Obviously, you can't really see the line at the moment, but when you ping this line, you really can see how out it is. It's very minimal here, which is bloody difficult to do. But then when you start getting down to here, that's when you can start to see that it turns into what nearly is 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to have to do that. So then it sort of tapers off over there again. Look. So we're going to need to cut all the way through here. So I'm going to get that done hopefully this afternoon, if not tomorrow. That's going to be the main goal. Obviously the front's not straight, but obviously as soon as we cut that back piece off, it should give us enough room to physically put that channel straight in. The one thing they didn't do, like I said yesterday when they had it all unpacked, was to physically get it put in here to test this side. So at some stage today it'd be nice to know whether it is just one side an issue or both sides. I'm fingers crossed it is just one. Other than that, everything else is pretty much good to go. It's just going to be plaster, insulation, metal conduit on the wall, and then obviously it's going to be the taping and jointing. I want to look at the doors in the meantime. None of them been siliconed, John just told me. So I've got to decide at the moment whether I'm going to take them out and silicone them in, or whether I'm going to attempt to try and get silicone from the front. I know everybody on here is going to be saying you should silicone and then put them back in, but there's a lot of work obviously to take them all back out again. But I am very mindful that this side is where the wind and rain drives into the building. So if we don't get that right, then we could have water coming through underneath, which is the last thing I need. But saying that, the windows have been in the last few days. We've had a little bit of rain. There's been no water coming in, but it hasn't been really hard driven rain. And I've been here and witnessed a couple of driven rains. It was unbelievable. So I think we really need to have a serious think about that. Time and aggro versus long-term time and aggro. So I need to think about that. But anyway, apart from that, obviously, judging by how quickly the channel's going up, this wall and this wall will be done in no time. Hopefully by the end of the day today, all of the channel needed will be cut and installed. So I'm going to go and get that nail gun now. And then hopefully the guys will be pushing ahead out here with the footings and the beam above. In fact, once I'm on the camera, let me get upstairs on the scaffold and show you what took place yesterday. I'll turn the camera off so I don't kill myself in the meantime, and get you back on again. Okay, so up on the roof, let me show you what they've done. So yesterday what they did, fair play to them, they came out bloody quick. So I do take my hat off to them for doing that. They literally cut the cracks that they could see that were leaking. They cut them down and they filled with them a new compound, and then obviously going over that compound after it was finished. So as far as I'm aware, the crack's now pretty much sealed. So let me show you. This one is pretty much to the left of the beam, and this one's pretty much to the right of the beam. So if you're standing in the middle of the house, and you can gauge the middle of the house because that unit over the road is pretty much halfway through, you can see you're pretty much standing in the middle of the house. So where the two roofs have gone down that side, obviously that's what's created the cracks. So, but these two, this is the main one, this is leaking quite a bit. So they've taken this right back, pretty much to the middle of the house. And this one here, they've done the same there as well, but just about 2-3 feet past the overhang, i.e. past the beam. So that one was leaking on the outside and the inside, and this one was leaking on the outside and inside. I probably would have taken that one a bit further, but judging by the colour, you've got a little bit of resonance sort of coming over here, so I probably would have taken that one a bit further, but They know what they're doing. They're certainly more experienced at it than me, so fingers crossed. And I'm not too sure if that's now finished or whether they'll let that set and then come and put their grey sort of mortar over the top. But this is pure, where this is a diluted version. This is not. Yeah, so fingers crossed it will do what it needs to do. Obviously the cracks that are on the roof, we've got sort of a couple that sort of come along here. That one's looking a little bit prominent compared to obviously the others that we had, so it might be worth them looking at that. And you can see like a damp patch in and around here as well. So we've literally got a semicircle that goes around this side of the roof, and we've got a semicircle on that side of the roof as well. So there's enough steel to hold up Buckingham Palace. So it's certainly not going to be an issue structurally. But obviously one thing we do need to do, we've got to get that cut out, because that's obviously not allowing the water to flow. We need to obviously cut this side out. So we'll have to do that. This one obviously is completely off, so that now flows okay, although we could do with sweeping up properly. They're putting these 2x4s on here to prop up the formwork that we're going to be pouring. Well, I'm really not too sure why the cement mixer's still going, bear in mind it's still on lunch. And we did have a crack that sort of did a bit of a semicircle all the way around here as well. So it looks like they've resealed the cracks here, which were in the middle, which again is on the centre of the house. So anywhere where there's a support, we have cracks either side of what the support. So obviously the weight in the middle was what's caused the pooling and the cracking, obviously. So, but I can't see where the other semicircle. Oh yes, I can. There, look. So there's the actual one that they've actually addressed there. Look, so you can see the semicircle marking going around, and it sort of comes around to here, and this one then joins it. So as he said, more water on there, the better. The more water that goes on, the more the product grows and crystallises and does its thing. So fingers crossed. We get a little bit of rain in the next couple of days and it can start fixing itself even more. I am going to get up obviously and pull this as much as I can just to make sure we strength test this, but I wanted to make sure it's sealed first, dried off, and then we'll get some water on it and then start curing itself better. So other than that, that's pretty much where we are. So I wanted to film obviously where we are. It's a very important part of the project, that's for sure. So anybody doing a concrete roof, you really need to make sure you've got a bloody good engineer, and an engineer that turns up to site as well, by the way. My engineer charges to turn up to site, and what I should have done was just put a budget to one side to say maybe every 1 to 3 months, or at least every time we do a pour, you turn up, you analyse, you're happy, and you sign off. That's partially my fault, because as soon as someone says, yeah, I'm more than happy to come, but I'm going to charge you, you sort of rebuttal a little bit and push them away. But I'd recommend you don't do that. I'd recommend you sort of, bite the bullet and say, look, let's put in at least 4 visits over a 6 to 8 month period. And every time we're about to do something major, that visit falls in line with that visit and you can sign off and you're happy. Worst case scenario, he would have looked at this and said, it's all good. And if it was poured and it didn't go according to plan, then you've got an engineer on your side attacking the concrete company as well, rather than you trying to do it on your own. Or he would have said, look, you can't be doing this. You need to be doing X, Y, Z, or you've missed this out, or I can see that's not done properly. But either way, they're going to take some responsibility, or at least help you avoid issues or fight problems if they come along. So yeah, that would be my recommendation to anybody. But anyway, whilst we're up here, stupid of me not to actually try and say to you guys, check out the view. It's a bloody big roof, and it's an amazing view. That's the airport directly behind us, just here, and that's swamp, and obviously we're in the sea. So anyway, I'll check in later on this afternoon. Okay, so 4:45. Let's have a quick end of day catch up. Now everyone's gone. Table saws left out. Need to get that covered up. Okay, so what have we been doing today? So I suppose the main thing, we'll spin it around. We've had to reposition the pendulum lights that are going to sit above the breakfast bar. They've now been moved and centralised. Hopefully they're dead centre. They're a little bit off again, have to double check that. But anyway, more electrics have been taking place, which is great. Insulation, I've done a bit more of that today. Been busy, so I haven't done a great deal of that. Also just finished off this side, so I can be plasterboarded up now. So this is now obviously affects the bathroom. Bathroom's pretty much done now. All the frameworks are that one's a bit too a bit too big, needs to be trimmed, but framework in each room up against the wall, waiting to be nailed on. Nail gun has been purchased, rented, ready to go. Plumber, obviously I said earlier on, has actually got that in now, so that now can be concrete boarded, and that now becomes our entrance into downstairs. That can be insulated, that can be insulated, then that can be boarded. This has already been boarded halfway on there, but all the way around there. So probably better to talk to them about that, because at the end of the day, the staircase is the other side. To try and to insulate up there from a staircase is going to be near on impossible. So you're probably better off putting the actual plasterboard on the other side, insulated on the inside. Either way, that one could be done. That can be finished off. That could be insulated. Plasterboard's here for some reason. Should be in the other room. 2 bifolds have been fitted. Glass waiting to go in. Rubbish to be finished off. Do have a bigger gap at the top we thought we were going to have. That one's not. Leads me to believe that potentially the column itself is not straight. But anyway, what we do obviously with all those, as we said before, the door frames go in, and then they get fixer foamed in anyway. So these have obviously been done waiting, so they'll have the 2 doors put into those as well. Give those a quick clean up in a minute. This silicone all over them, get that off. Using a thing called CT1, which is an English silicone, and it's absolute marine of silicone. So if you leave it on, it does not come off. So we'll see how I get on with those there. Obviously they've started on the wall here as well. So the metal is on there, it needs to be obviously fired into the wall, but it's up. And we've got that on that wall as well, which you've already seen. The wood at the top was obviously finished off, which I talked about earlier. That's done all the way through, waiting for the doorways to go in and be chiselled out. They've done quite a bit of work in here today. The pipe has now been pushed in and concreted. That's going to be all the way along until it's connected. As you can see, the depth of the pipe, the thickness of the pipe compared to the other thinner stuff. And you look at the size of that compared to that. So that's been pretty much done. Rebars all in, starter bars are in. Formwork is starting to go in, but that seems to be slow today. I don't know why that's been a bit slow. But obviously it's got to be put in and it's got to be blocked in before it's done. So I don't know what they're going to do about that. But obviously the bars are in. They use obviously these bits of rebar, and then they obviously put nails around them to hold them in place. We're going to put blocks all the way down the outside, which I'm not seeing at the moment. But again, they're going to want to try and put the sewage pipe all the way down here as well. And I think they're talking about concreting this as well as that as well. So we need to work out whether that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Really, you should have stone around these in case there's any movement, obviously. So I think better off now putting stone all the way around that. Once that's been concreted in all the way along to here, get the whole thing covered with stone all the way through, and then that will end up being concrete into the footing, and then we'll stone the living hell out of that as well. Bear in mind, we've also now still got the excavator to go over here. So really, we should have waited on that, but obviously I'm very mindful we've got to get that done. So catch-22 for these guys really on that one. We've got to get the excavator in across here, and the excavator's got to dig this out and this out, like I keep saying. So it's still got to get behind here. Anyway, that's pretty much it where this is concerned. I did show you, I think already, that on the front where the sewage is going to come past, we've already had all of the holes dug and concreted. So again, we'll try and get a diagonal all the way through here if we can, straight to here. And then we're going to have to get the levels on it and make sure that's done absolutely perfectly. And then we've also got to make sure, again, loads of stone around it, loads of sand around it, concrete around it. It can't move. Bear in mind, this is the main entrance in, and an excavator will want to go over at the first point. So I wish there was some form of civil engineering business on the island, so I can actually just sub it out, because it's just one of those things I could really do without dealing with. Guys have left stuff out. Not good. Need to get all that put away. But other than that, we're going to be, tomorrow's going to be insulation, plasterboard. Obviously after all the nails, these have been nailed into the wall, it's going to be completely boarded. So in here is going to take a massive change in the next 24 hours. Tomorrow, the biggest job I've got obviously is looking to grind out this door track to try and make sure we can get the door track in. And then in an ideal world, we just need to get the door track fitted. Base in, either side in, top in screwed into these lovely little joists that we've done. So we literally on each part just literally screw straight for the door frame into that, keep it up in the air, get it measured properly, and then it's ready to get installed. But obviously cutting this concrete is going to be bloody difficult. And the main reason why is, I already showed you, we've got the best part of 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch here, which is absolutely fine to a certain extent, aggro, but at least you've got something to get your teeth sunk into. But then it starts going off and off and off, and in the end you're sort of pretty much hardly anything. But it's got to come off, otherwise you're not going to get it in. So cutting that is going to be bloody difficult. The other thing we did today as well, which I think I've already showed you anyway, but so sorry if I'm boring you, it's been one of those days. We've white mortared the front here, which I think I've already shown you. We white mortared that side, and again they've carried on plastering all the way around the building, so that is now grey all the way around. I did see them coming around here, and I did notice they missed a large chunk as well the last time, so hopefully they would have got round and done that today. Oh no, they missed that as well, look. They still need to get this bit here scratch coated and plastered, so they've done over here, look, obviously all the way around, but they keep forgetting to do here for some reason. So I need to get them in there to get that sorted out. I mean, the entrance area is not sorted, so we need to work out how big we want to put a doorway in there, get that framed in, get that plastered, and then get the whole thing done at the same time. But I could do with doing that sooner rather than later. The well guy didn't turn up again. So for 3 days now he's promised he's going to come. 3 days he hasn't bothered. So I'm absolutely bemused as to why you can't just put a call in saying that I'm having problems. Just communicate with people. So we're probably a third of the way through, no, that's a lie, probably 50% of the way through the well. So if anybody on the island knows of a company that does wells, please let me know, because I'm going to have to change tact. Because at the moment I can't carry on waiting on somebody that says they're going to turn up and then just doesn't show. It's just not fair. So I'm going to have to deal with it. So if you guys know anybody, please let me know. Failing that, I should have to be making some phone calls tomorrow on that one. So here's another day over. Yeah, see you tomorrow.